Next.
How I feel. Damn sick and tired of all this. All this fucking never that. Damn fool. Get some facts and get back to see. Don't talk to me, alright? Kiss my ass. Get some facts. I'm tired of these guys. Soldier, knock it off.
Money. It was hard to turn down. And fame.
There's gonna be Hollywood down here.
Time to grow up.
Be a man.
If you don't like me as a man, I'm gonna make you my girlfriend.
Don't be afraid of it. Make sure you kiss
Boyz Radio. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, I think Instagram. I'm Tony Gaglione.
I don't know. Ethan Gettemire.
I don't know. Today
At this point, we're live somewhere.
We're live somewhere, yes. Today we're going to talk a little more seriously about sports in general. We're going to stay away from the WWE. We're going to stay away from things of that sort and strictly focus on sports betting.
It is a very dangerous thing.
Well, in the midst of all of what we're going on right now in baseball, football, basketball, and hockey, we have Mr. I don't even know how to say his name. Ep3 Mitsuhara. He is the interpreter / longtime friend of Shohei Ohtani, and he is or going to be arrested for theft of $4.5 million of Shohei's money in order to pay a offshore bookie a gambling debt.
That is just an absurd amount of money.
Absurd amount of money. First of all, and I don't know if I mentioned this already, but if you look at the bottom of the screen on the ticker, if you have a gambling problem, there's the GA number for you. We certainly don't want to encourage unsafe gambling. We do gamble ourselves. I got plenty of stuff tomorrow on March Madness. I gambled tonight.
I do too.
I mean, you don't gamble what you can't afford. That's just kind of, look, everybody has their nights. I've had my nights, you know what I mean, where it's just I've lost way more money than I should have. Everybody
Absolutely.
has that, but if you have a problem like that where it's every night, there's a phone number down here somewhere that you can read.
It's scrolling across.
So a long time friend of Shohei, back when he was in Japan, is the culprit of this $4.5 million theft from Shohei himself. Now there's theories going around that Mazuhara is a fall guy for Shohei, who is doing the betting himself. What do you think about that possibility? Or do you think, okay, he really has a lot of money, why does he need to gamble, kind of thing?
I think he
go for it.
I would say that his interpreter could be the fall guy to Shohei, because Shohei was sidelined for the entirety of last season. So he was still making money, but at the same
Not
time,
the
he
entirety,
had
but
really
yeah. Go ahead.
a majority of it. He was
Yeah.
out, so he really had nothing to do other than maybe make a couple bets here and there. But because it would be under Shohei's name, he had to go through a fall guy, and that fall guy just happened to be the interpreter who
His
ended
boy.
up getting caught.
Yeah, and if he's going to do any sort of, cahoots with Shohei
Shady
to
stuff.
gamble, then he should know the consequences of what could happen. And if it were,
And I'm
to
sure that's
be
a
that
risk
he's
they
a
were willing
fall
to
guy,
take.
yeah, if he was going to be a fall guy, I'm sure Shohei would have offered him a ton of money to do what he's
Oh,
doing. However,
absolutely.
I don't think that that's what's happening. I truly, honestly believe that this person has stolen that amount of money from Ohtani and used it to bet and continuously lost, apparently, which is insane. $4.5 million is
That's
insane. Maybe he bet on Shohei doing a couple things, whatever. I don't know, but that's a little ridiculous.
Maybe had him throwing a couple games here and there. Maybe he even faked an injury.
Faking the injury.
Maybe he put a bet out that Shohei would get injured in a game and put a couple mil on that, and all of a sudden, bing, bam, boom, baby pachyderm.
I love that you did that. So what's your brewski broski? I forgot to ask you.
Back on the Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan. Got myself
Captain
a little
Morgan.
vodka lemonade here. Tito's. Cheers to you, bud.
Tito's.
Cheers to everybody out there watching.
Cheers.
Another gambling problem. Check this out. Cavs assistant coach G-Bay Bickerstaff says he was approached by gamblers and threatened by gamblers. They even called and texted his phone and threatened his children to
Whoa.
fix Cleveland Cavalier basketball games.
What year?
Last season.
Okay, so it wasn't with LeBron.
No, it was not with LeBron. So the investigation is ongoing, but they caught the person who did it. But no
So why is
charges
it
were
still-
filed against the person.
But it's still
So he's-
ongoing?
Yes, but no charges were filed against the person. So it's like,
Why?
hello, like that's my question. Like that's my question to you. Why wouldn't there be charges against this person who it's technically not illegal. You cannot get arrested for threatening somebody. Believe it or not. That's part of the law. You cannot get arrested for threatening somebody.
Bullshit.
There could be no bullshit. There you can't be arrested for threatening somebody. You can definitely be warned or have a restraining order or something like that, I'm sure. But I mean, I've never
I would
threatened
hope
anybody to
so.
the point where they had to do that. So I don't know. But this shit between the LA Dodgers and Mitsuhara and his $4.5 million theft and Bickerstaff on the Cavaliers staff getting approached by gamblers and getting threatened by gamblers, and then no charges filed on the guy when they finally find him. I mean,
Do you think this
that's
has
fucking
something to
insane
do
me.
like
Is that fucking insane to you?
it's
Like, does that
fucking
seem-
insane, but it also sounds like it's something that could be mob related.
Yeah,
At this
it
point,
seems like it could
everything
be-
is at this point, everything seems like it could be mob related.
Well,
one
let's be
way or
real about this
another.
for a minute. Let's be real about this for a
I'm
minute.
being real.
I know. I'm gonna be honest with you, and you be honest with me. Think about
Okay.
a time in sports that you're like, fuck, that was rigged. Straight up, that was rigged.
I don't know if it counts as being rigged or if it's just bad officiating, but the Seahawks Packers game where it was the replacement refs, that was a little suspicious, but I'm sure that the refs officiating that
mean-
game had no idea what they were doing.
See, and that's something that is very interesting to me because collegiate referees for football, American football, make decent calls. These replacement
Yes.
referees were somewhere out of like the backup referees of the NFL kind of thing, or just random people. Why couldn't they pull collegiate referees up? I'm not.
They got them at like a
understanding
Lowe's
quite-
parking lot.
Right. Like they basically just picked them up somewhere and was like, hey, you want to ref
Mm-hmm.
an NFL game? But now you can blame it on the NFL refs, or do you blame it on the NFL themselves for not hiring competent fucking referees for a sport that generates billions and billions of dollars?
I think
Like-
you have to blame the NFL on that point because you have the money to get replacement refs that know what they're doing. So you have replacement. You could even get the Canadian football, the CFL refs.
I mean, some of the guys I guess they got were seasoned somehow. I don't know. But
from
I'm sure there was
where?
crews. I don't know. I'm sure there was
Arena
crews from, like-
football?
I don't know. That's what it seemed like when you were watching the fucking game. But like, let's say, there's crews in the SEC or the ACC or, just crews in general that work together all the time that are fucking fantastic as far as referees go. I'm not saying that in football, the referees are usually right because let's face it, there's a fucking penalty on every single play of every single game. It is the choice of the referee whether to call it or not. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely there is. There's guys on the line that are holding each other and throwing each other to the ground that should probably be called holding.
Absolutely.
And everything just gets blown off. And it's kind of like I want to counter that by not everything gets called, because there are blatant pass interference calls that go uncalled. There's blatant
Let's talk about that. Let me
the
interrupt
Rams
you
and
for a minute.
Saints game,
Rams Saints NFC title.
NFC title. That's the
Blatant pass interference. Like, dude was there a second and a half before the ball got there. Excuse me. A second and a half before the ball got there. And not only that, it was targeting. He lit dude
it
up.
was.
He
It was.
completely lit dude up. I don't understand how there's not a flag for pass interference or there's not a flag for targeting, one of the two, or helmet to helmet, defenseless receiver. I can name 4 penalties that should have been called on that play alone.
Go
That,
ahead.
you know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
did. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, fuck, man. Where
No,
was
I
was
remember
their hand stuck in their goddamn pocket at the time?
they had
This
yeah,
is the kind
yeah.
of shit I'm talking about where you start thinking. You start thinking in like, well, Taylor Swift is a fucking Chiefs fan now, so goddamn, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Go. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised whatsoever. There's
Like,
teams that are like obviously favored by the NFL. The Chiefs are basically them now. Before then, it
now,
was the Patriots
now,
and
anywhere Brady was. Let's go.
anywhere Brady. So it was Chiefs, then it was the Buccaneers, and then it was the Patriots. So you had Patriots, Bucks, Chiefs, and now you have to watch the Chiefs be basically have their dicks rubbed by Roger Goodell. I mean,
mean,
at this point,
for lack of a better term.
Roger Goodell's just over in the Chiefs locker room, just stroking Patrick Mahomes and
Oh man. I
stroking the
mean,
entire Chiefs locker room.
okay, so getting back to the gambling thing, and I'm going to include the Chiefs in this. Let's talk about the phantom holding call in the Super Bowl with the Eagles against
Yes,
Valdez Scantling that basically turned the entire Super Bowl upside down. So,
it was a game that the Philadelphia Eagles should have won.
right.
I'm sorry, Jason Kelsey should have a
Yes.
second ring before Travis got his third.
Second, was he on the
He
Nick Foles team?
he was.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You might, I don't know. Check it out, but either way, fine. Kelsey should have got a ring that year. That's besides the point. The point is it came down to that fucking play because it was, I believe it was 4th down. If I'm not mistaken,
I believe
or
it
it could have
was.
been a crucial 3rd and whatever, but it
No, I
definitely
think it was
wasn't
4th
1st or
down.
2nd down.
No,
It
it
was a
was like
crucial
the
play.
last play of the game.
It was insane. So you see those examples though, you know what I mean, of things you're like, it's not really kosher. It doesn't look kosher. Like it doesn't look like that was supposed to happen like that. Like
Right.
there's no way that was supposed to happen like that. There's no way that was a penalty.
There had to have been a couple extra dollars thrown at the refs.
Dude, couple extra dollars. Now we're talking billions and billions that the NFL brings in revenue. Couple extra dollars.
$100,000?
$100,000 maybe per call for the season.
I'm sure. Oh my God, that'd be a lot of money.
Bro, you're talking millions of dollars being bet here, not just little,
Right. No,
$5 parlays. You know what I mean? It's fucking millions of dollars.
right.
Bring up another
And
point here that happened recently. Because we're just talking about sports gambling right now. Rudy Gobert, who I hate for a completely different reason that I'll get into in a second, was fined $100,000 by the National Basketball Association, which is the maximum amount of money a player can be fined. Maximum. So
really,
either I'm not sure if he's the first player ever to be fined that amount of money. I doubt it, but he possibly could be. Anyway, for his discretion, what was him going down the court after a call, and he was making a Johnny Manziel money gesture
Oh
at
my
referee
god.
Scott Foster, basically saying that, he was paid to make the calls or whatever,
Yeah.
which is bullshit. You don't do that. Like,
No, not at all.
what fucking world are we living in now?
World of
Like,
money and greed.
absolutely. I think you nailed it on the head. And the rich stay richer out of this shit,
Yeah.
and like the scumbags get rich out of this shit. It's insane. Also, the reason I hate Rudy Gobert is because when COVID just started, he was the asshole who like put his mouth and hands all over the microphones, and then guess what? The next day he had COVID.
Yeah.
What an
Piece of
asshole.
shit. What an idiot. I forgot about that. I'm glad you reminded me about that. I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
Check this out. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, and I want your honest to God answer on each one of them.
Okay.
Do the referees need referees?
Yes.
How would you, I mean, that's an on the spot question of how would you implement that, because who the fuck knows how you would implement that. But
I think the only way that you could implement that would be to have a third party ref, but at the same time you're kind of fucking yourself by doing that, because you're having basically replacement refs
no,
the
you can have
refs.
someone knowledgeable in whatever
See,
sport it is.
I
Okay,
think
so let's
that's
say
what it's good about having the old school or like the retired refs that are like in the booths and that are like
yeah, but
in
they're only
the
there for Fox Media, man. They're not there to help the referees.
right.
Like they
But if
don't
you
watch
move
the
them down to
broadcast.
help the refs, it's like you put them in the booths because they have the knowledge and they're basically the outside perspective. If you put them in to guide the refs,
Okay,
put them
now
like
I
the
see what you're
XFL
saying.
where they would have where the refs have the in-ears.
Yeah.
Give those guys the microphones to talk to the refs and say, "Hey, that was a penalty that you just missed. There's like half your money
No,
that
well, I
you're
mean, you
about
don't
to
have to
lose."
go far
Well,
that
you
like
know
you're
what
gonna
I
get
mean.
fined, but check this out. I understand what you're saying, and we'll take it to a more no offense to you, a more logical level, okay, where you don't find the referees.
Right.
Let's say there's a home base like Toronto in the NHL, where they get every call right no matter what, because they got like 90 angles to every fucking thing. Right?
Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, why couldn't there be no challenges in football? No coaches challenge. Fuck that. Throw it out the window. It wastes fucking time. Okay.
Get rid of the red
It wastes
flag.
time. It wastes time. The referee should have an earpiece in their ear, and every play should be reviewed. Every single fucking one.
Yes.
And I'm talking down to the yardage where they spot the ball. I'm talking down to if it was a pass interference or not. Hey, man, if you're not going to call it, you got to call it late. And you just say like this, you do the soccer thing. Like it came from above. It came from review, like, or point at your ear. Like it came from somewhere else. I didn't see it. They saw it. Here it is. It's pass interference. Like
Okay.
someone has to ref the refs. Like they
See,
can't
that's
just be on their own.
interesting.
I know there's an internal union with the refs and all kinds of bullshit, but who knows about that besides the refs and the people in the internal union? Like,
See, that's interesting. If you're gonna have them pull back basically, let's say that they score a touchdown and that you give them the soccer diamond or whatever, and that
it's a box,
basically
like
just
a TV.
I don't know.
box.
You did like some octagon looking shit.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, Spanish.
Cheers.
You almost it's almost like you're ruining the game twice over, because that could be a crucial point in the game. But I understand what you're saying of even if it is pass interference, that it would still ruin the game because it should have been called
It should have been
3
called.
plays before.
If you're my point is, and plain and simple, down to the brass tacks right here. if you're going to implement a replay system that is supposed to get every call right, you might as well make it so you get every fucking call right. Every
Yes.
single one. Stop
So would that
stopping
delay the
games
game
for
a little
bullshit
more?
calls, and stop saying some things are irreversible or some things you can't review. Or no, everything should be reviewed. Every
Yes,
fucking play and called down to the refs, and the refs should explain it to the fans, and boom, next play, let's go.
I would
Like,
agree. But would that slow the game down even more than it is?
I don't think so. I don't think it would slow the game down, because the only time the referee actually has to do anything is when he has to change something he's done. So if he marked it correctly, there's nothing to say to him. If he got the call right, there's nothing to say to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it seems like there's holding on every play, so they have the luxury to just pull that fucking yellow thing out of their pocket and throw it whenever the hell they goddamn like.
Yep.
And I don't like that. They can insert themselves into games like the Super Bowl that matter so much to so many people and generate billions of dollars, and it's decided by a couple guys who are wearing stripes. Oh,
Yeah,
hell no.
that's
We do not pour our money into shit like you're seeing and shit like you're seeing so the referees can fuck it up.
no, absolutely. I completely agree. And having every play challenged almost by an outside referee would probably make the game. I will say that it might slow down the game because they have to review every single play.
It
And
might.
by the angles that they would have to check every player on the field and see what
If they
exactly
had
they're doing.
question, though, if they had question, if they don't have question, move on. If you think that
No,
the ball was spotted correctly, move on. You don't need to review it.
see,
I'm saying
that's the issue though, is the ball is never really spotted correctly. I've
I can see
seen
that 100 fucking times every game. I
exactly the ball is
understand.
never placed at the correct line
I've seen clips of a referee spot the ball and literally move it forward a yard before a chain marker comes out.
just to
Um,
give them a first down.
yeah, man. Like, I've seen some shit. Like, go down the YouTube rabbit hole of referees fucking up in the NFL,
Yeah,
and you're
there's
gonna love that.
100,000 clips on there.
You're gonna love that, bro. I
You'll be
mean,
up all night watching that shit.
okay. My second question for you, and this is a serious question,
Oh shit, I thought we were already on the
is
second question.
no, man. We just kept going. Um, is all of this gambling being legal in every state now except for Las Vegas and Atlantic City and special states like that, is that getting dangerous? Are we living in a world where that's going to start to matter to our professional sports that we love? That's a
Yes,
serious
I
question.
I truly believe that gambling has pretty much taken over the entire world at this point, and the fact that yes, it's legal in every state, but it's still kind of not legal in Vegas and Atlantic City. It's still legal, but the fact that the real thing that you really have to take into effect is we need to get rid of the jersey ads that promote gambling.
Oh, accessibility itself is what makes gambling a problem with sports.
Absolutely. The fact that there are plenty
Now,
of
I'm going to
sports
say this.
books in casinos is the biggest problem.
Well, no. Sports books and casinos, I'm all for that. Here's where my problem lies. Right here. This is where my problem lies. My phone.
Your cell phone.
Okay. So you can literally go on here and bet shit live, pitch by pitch on a baseball game. You can go on my phone and bet $100 that the next pitch is going to be a strike, and boom, it's gone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I have the ability at the tip of my fingers to do that and go
Me as
straight
well.
into my bank account, my family bank account, and I could take out thousands of dollars and they'll accept it. Of course they will. They want your money.
Yeah,
They
they
don't
don't
give a
care how
shit
you
about
get it.
you. Yeah. For example, today I was watching, and The reason I was watching it was because I was gambling on it. But guess what? I gamble what I can afford. So I was watching the LA Kings game against fucking Minnesota. And the LA
Yes.
Kings completely lit up Marc-Andre Fleury tonight. And the over-under was 5.5. And the Kings were favored plus or minus 1.5 on the puck
Okay.
line. So I took minus 1.5 Kings and the over 5.5. Okay. Then it turned to 6 halfway through the live bet. And I put some money on the 6. And it ended up that it was 6-0 LA Kings. So I ended up winning a little parlay and then losing a little side one. No big deal. Point is, every 2 seconds, starting at the third period, the DraftKings odds were posted at the top of the screen next to the score, next to the time, where people are looking all the time to entice people to go into DraftKings and whatever. Now, like I said, I gambled on the game myself, so I'm not trying to be a hypocrite about it. What I'm saying is that it's not dangerous to me. You know what I mean? To see that.
Right.
I can look
Right.
at it and be like, great. I'm not going to run to my fucking William Hill account and throw 100 on it. Is it dangerous to people though who have that problem?
Absolutely. And there's literally nothing anybody can do about it because the only person that knows that they have the gambling addiction is the person with the gambling addiction. William Hill, DraftKings, they don't give a shit. Hey, look, you're putting more money into your account because you want to bet that the Kings are going to light up Marc-Andre Fleury and you're going to win a couple $1,000. Okay. Thank you for giving us your money. Here, good luck.
Absolutely. They're never going to be like, they don't look it. They don't give a shit about you or any money you have or how much money you have. That could have been your last $20 that you put into their system. They don't know that.
And
they
you
don't
just
give a
gave
shit.
them their paycheck.
Yeah, that's fine. God damn.
That $20 that you just spent, that's their paycheck.
You had a couple good examples that you brought up to me before showtime about gambling occurrences in sports that you were curious about. Go ahead.
The 1919 Chicago Black Sox.
It's fun. No way. Okay.
What?
So check this out. The only thing that is showing in my room is that hanger that Alex made me, and it's the White Sox. And you're asking me about the Black Sox. That's really funny. 1919 Black Sox. Have you ever seen the movie 8 Men Out?
I own the movie.
You own the movie. Okay.
Yes.
So you've watched the movie, but you want to know more?
I would love to know more. The only things that I can
what do you
really
need
find
to know about it then? It's not that complicated. Charles Comiskey was a cheap piece of shit, and he didn't pay his players what they were worth, especially because you had Hall of Fame players on that team like Shoeless Joe Jackson and guys like that. So
and Lefty Williams.
What's your say? Excuse me.
And Lefty Williams.
There you go. So what's the question?
Why were they able to get away with it for so long?
Oh,
how were they able to?
Like while it was happening?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, let's face it. If you're a pitcher, you could throw a BP breaking ball, or a batting practice fastball at 90 miles an hour straight down the heart of the plate. And an MLB player is going to hit that all the time. Back in the day, it might have been a little different. It might have been the dead ball. It was the dead ball era, I believe. So, I mean, not a lot came out of the bats, but I mean, if you really wanted to fuck shit up, I mean, these guys aren't finely tuned athletes like you see today. You know what I mean? This is 1919. I mean,
so
it's not Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres and Giancarlo Stanton out there. You know what I mean? They're not muscle bound freaks. They're just normal guys, man. Look at Babe Ruth. It's a fat guy.
Yeah.
Let's be real. He's just like you and me, bud.
How were they able to get away with like throwing pitches and it looks like
Nobody
they're
thought about it
fucking it
those
up?
days. Nobody thought about it those days. That's why when it was it was like the first real scandal of Major League Baseball. Before Pete Rose, before all this shit that you know about otherwise, it was the first. Go ahead, show it off. Yes, the Pete Rose jersey. Love it.
Thank you, Alex.
Before all that, you know what I mean? It was the first time that someone has done such a thing to ruin something so pure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so they got banned for life, all 8 of them. Shoeless Joe ended up playing in some independent leagues where he went under a different name, but that was about it. Everybody else was done.
So they'll
And
never
look
be
for it
allowed to be in the Hall of Fame
ever.
like Pete Rose.
Just like Pete, except Pete in a different way is something that I don't understand about it is he bet on his own team.
Right.
He went or he had somebody, whatever it may be. I don't know the story. He bet on his own team. Like he had faith in his squad, whether he was the coach or the player at the time. I don't know. Mostly,
I think it was the
he said it
player
was the
manager.
coach. He was the coach at the time. Either way, you're betting on yourself, and I believe that should be okay. That should be okay because
So you think
decide the
if
outcome of you're doing your best either way.
okay, so let's say would it be okay for Aaron Rodgers to go out and bet that he's going to throw 2 touchdowns?
Well, exactly 2 touchdowns or over 2
I
touchdowns?
mean, let's say over 2 touchdowns.
No, it's not
Would that
wrong.
be okay?
For me, that would be okay because you're betting on yourself to do well. You know what I mean? You're betting on yourself to play the game at the highest level. If you're trying to do that, then I'm okay with it. If
Okay, so
you're
in that
betting,
sense, then yes, that would be okay because you're betting on
right,
yourself to win. You're
right,
not betting on yourself to throw the game.
absolutely. The other way
Okay.
around, let's say the Jets are playing the Giants or Notre Dame is playing Ohio State, whatever you want to do. The Bears are playing the Packers. The Bears get, or let's say Caleb Williams is on the Bears next year. He gets paid to throw 4 interceptions or whatever the fuck. That's fucking cheating.
Yeah.
That's just deciding the outcome of the game based on gambling. You cannot decide the outcome of the game when you bet on yourself because you're going to try your hardest no matter what.
Right.
Whether you bet on yourself or not.
So they really can't be like, "Oh, we want you to throw either 4 interceptions or lose the game at any means necessary."
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like if you bet
Yeah.
on yourself, like it should be you're going to play hard either way. I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like he bet on his own team. It's not like he would make moves the opposite direction to get them to
Right.
fucking lose.
Right.
No,
Give up a
he
home
wants them to
run or
win.
2.
The ownership wants them to win. If he gambled on it, maybe he cares a little more. I don't fucking know.
But did he
I
bet on them
see
to lose? Or
no,
he bet
he
on
never
them to
bet on
win?
them. He always bet on them to win. That's why it's a
Okay.
thing, man. That's why people write in Pete Rose every year for Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It's a thing. What was the other one?
Tim Donaghy.
Tim Donaghy. Tim Donaghy was the
NBA
mafia
referee. Yeah.
Yeah, he basically got involved with the mafia by fixing one game, and then after that one game, you can watch the documentary actually if you want to on Netflix. It's called Untold.
Okay.
Untold Playing for the Mob, it's called. So
Ooh.
check it out. He basically fixed one game because he didn't make a lot or whatever bullshit reason he had for doing it, and cheating. And then after that, they had him by the balls because they knew he fixed that game and they used that against him to extort him into more and more and more and more. Not extort, but you know what I mean. And trap him into more and more and more and more. Either that or I tell that you fix this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it could have been like a
So
Lakers Cavs game, and he
it
was
could have
told
been
to fix it
anything,
for the
man.
Cavs to win.
It could have been anything. It could have been, I mean, from what he's admitted, 10 or more, but regular season games, and that's just him admitting it. Like, do you think he would just come out and say his deepest, darkest shit?
No,
No,
not
I
at
don't
all.
think so.
Not
He
right
was
now, at
probably part
least.
of an NBA finals or something that was off, and we don't know about it. I'm telling you, man.
Till later down the road.
Yep, this is what it is. Anyway, I don't want to hold you guys up so much, so we decided that shit, gambling is getting dangerous at this point for the most part, correct?
Yeah.
The accessibility, I think, is the worst problem. The fact that you can do it on your phone, the fact that they keep enticing you with the DraftKings odds and all that bullshit. I
I
think that's the
agree,
worst
but you also
word.
need to try and hold yourself accountable. And if you say that you're gonna try and at least slow down on your gambling, then you need to hold yourself accountable. And when you see ads like that, you need to restrain yourself from picking up your phone and putting money into your account and making a couple bets that you could have used to pay your utilities or your gas bill or whatever.
I would like to go into this further, but we're not going to do it tonight. And when we do, I'm going to get a professional that is actually going to tell us about it.
Okay.
And he works at the Gamblers Anonymous programs here in Vegas. Obviously,
Nice.
I would know that through my wife, and she'll set us up, and he will explain to you what happens in the frontal lobe of your brain if you have a gambling problem. And
Oh,
when
I'm
you hear
excited.
this shit and how much you cannot control it,
Yeah.
it is an actual disease, man. It is
Oh,
something that really is a serious thing. You can't like you yell at someone for being an alcoholic or being a gambler or something. It's the same thing if you have cancer. It's not their fault completely.
right.
It's really something in the brain. But
Well, then
I
I
would love to
apologize
bring
if
that
I've
on a
offended
different
anyone.
show. Excuse me?
I apologize if I offended
Oh,
anyone.
no, I'm sure you didn't. I would love to bring that on a different show if I can. I'll find out if
Yeah.
I can. If you're having trouble or know people that are having trouble with gambling, specifically sports gambling, I mean, we're a sports show. Call the number at the bottom of the screen on the ticker. That is the National GA hotline, and we support that 100%. Besides that,
100%.
up in a corner is the Rude Boys Radio Podcast QR code for our Instagram. Follow us on there. Follow us on Facebook. Check out our YouTube channel, which was live this entire time as well. That's about it. I'm Tony Gaglione.
I'm Ethan Gettemeyer.
Rude Boys Radio Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Good night.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Like and subscribe.